most of it. And the girl shouts out, "That's why we have to go to school. We have to learn it all again." And that started the song. And so we started putting things up on the board about the things we knew before we were born. And that list of wonder grew on the board. Because really, we were able to talk about, well, what it was like before we were born and what we knew. And then we got born and the angel slaps us on the mouth and we forget it all. So we brainstorm and I start to see some direction forming. And I explain the importance of a first line to him. What's our first line, I ask him. We got a few ideas and then we voted on it and we were off and running. And a little while later, maybe 15, 20 minutes later, we have a whole section of lyric. And so I say, well, let's read it. And someone reads it and goes, "I used to know the names of all the stars. I used to know the names of all the stars," which is how she read it. Well, that's the rhythm of the way in which we would speak it. I used to know the names of all the stars. What was I doing with my hand? I was showing you the pitch you were speaking it on. Well, in popular music, the natural pitch and rhythm of our speech informs our melodies. Now, melody is just expanded speech. It may go up higher, it may go down lower, we may stretch out some words for effect, but for it to sound natural, like speech, it follows that pitch and rhythm. Then I say, well, since you already know that, who can sing it? And this girl goes, "I used to know the names of all the stars." And everyone applauds. "Oh, that's it, that's perfect." So I give them a choice about, well, what would most evoke what we're talking about? And I play it for them in a few different styles, like, "I used to know the names of all the stars." Maybe not, or maybe a little more ballady. "I used to know the names of all the stars." They weren't really hip on that. Or a blues. "Oh, I used to know the names of all the stars." Not quite. And then we try. "Oh, I used to know the names of all the stars." And yes, that's it, the swing version. So we sing the first line over and over again a few times until someone comes up with the music for the second line, the melody. And then the next, and then the next, and pretty soon we're finished with the whole section. We sing the whole thing, but I mess up the words and I sing Jupiter, Earth, and Pluto, and a kid shouts out, "You forgot the words, it's Jupiter, Earth, and Mars." And another studious-looking one raises her hand and informs me, "Pluto is no longer a planet, it's a dwarf." And another goes, "No, it's a dog." And my mistake becomes the inspiration for the next verse. I used to know I used to know the words to all the songs. Now I just know the melodies and I just hum along. I used to know the language of the birds, the robin and the blue jay. I always knew what they would say, the prettiest song that I have ever heard. Now I have to go to school, learn it all again, get good grades and try and remember when I used to know all the stars. Well, back in 1999, I discovered that kids make the greatest co-writers. And it was an accidental discovery. It wasn't something that I'd thought out. One of my closest friends asked me to do a interdisciplinary workshop with her. She was a choreographer and there was a visual artist involved in our local elementary school. Now, we live in a very, very rural community, Little Washington, Virginia. There are only 6,500 people in the whole county, and the biggest town, Little Washington, has 124 people in it. So over those course of the 3 weeks of the interdisciplinary residency, I wrote about 60 songs, and work with virtually all of the 500 elementary school students in this community. And we ended up with all these songs, and I thought, well, that's kind of it, but the parents all wanted copies of the songs. They wanted me to make a record, and I didn't really want to do that. I resisted. I'd had my adult songwriting and performing career with Trapezoid and Key Theater still going, and I didn't want to be pigeonholed as a kids artist at that particular time in my life. And then I got a crazy idea, which was, we live in a community that's very rich in music and art. In fact, we have had two major conductors living here. Lauren Mazel, who was the conductor of every major orchestra in the world, ending up at the New York Philharmonic before his passing, and John Bourgeois, who lives 2 houses away from us, who was the conductor in the Marine Band for 20 years. And then there were rock bands and folkies and some of the remains of Trapezoid and all kinds of people here. And so I got this idea to give each person a song and have them do it in their own style. And that became an album called Tidal Wave of Song. Well, since that time, Kid Pinelli's really has created a tidal wave of about 2,700 songs with about 65,000 children all across the country. And there are some amazing songs. Songs I feel that are so amazing that we were able to get people like Amy Grant and Sissy Spacek and Delbert McClinton, Cracker, Kix Brooks, the Nashville Chamber Orchestra, Corey Harris, Susie Boggess, Bill Harley, Randy Kaplan, John McCutcheon, and many others to record these songs that were written by elementary school kids. And so here's the last verse of that song that we wrote with first graders, and then we'll get into writing ourselves. I used to know the leaf of every tree. Now it's just a forest in the dusk of evening. I used to see the God in everything. Now it's just a rustling, a whisper that I'm trusting when the redbud blossoms in the spring. Now I have to go to sleep, learn it all again, let my dream take me to the place where it began. When I used to know the names of all the stars. You see, we find God in many things, and most often for me, it's in song. So how about we do a little songwriting and a little praying together that we get a song out of this. Let's see. Usually when we start with the kids, we start off by, I say, what do you want to write about today? And in order to maybe move things along fairly quickly, let's just get like 1 or 2 ideas and we'll pick one of those. Who has an idea about what they'd like to write about? Okay, I'm going to have to make it up then. Kids don't hesitate. If we're going to work with kids, we have to be kids. That's why at the age of 71, I still feel like a kid because I hang out with kids all day long. Okay, so anybody have an idea now that I've embarrassed you?
Insects.
Insects. Okay, that's one idea. Who else?
The wind.
The wind. Okay.
Halloween.
And Halloween. Okay, let's do. I think let's.
Well, can I add something?
Yeah, and Cheryl can add one.
One of the things, hopefully, that all of you are able to see, I've shared a screen with you, because I think the other aspect that's important for you to know is some of the technology and some of the applications that we're using that are available to you when you're online. So through Zoom, I'm sharing right now a screen that is split. The smallest part of it is just a Word document. And even though some of you may not have necessarily given an idea, when we're working with kids, I try to capture everything that they're saying, because sometimes those end up becoming the ideas, especially when a child says, well, I don't know. Hey, that would be a great title for a song. I don't know.
Yeah, we recorded a song like that one time even. Exactly. So it's to honor what they say. But go ahead.
So you will see on one side of the screen is the side that we use to collect information, we'll vote on it, and then it will go away. And when we start to write lyric, that's where the lyric will sit.
Okay.
But on the other side is called a program called Mind Map, and as we start to brainstorm more, you'll see how this piece, this application actually works. It's pretty cool.
Okay. So anyway,
So-
quick vote on. Okay.
Paul,
Yes.
when Cheryl said, I don't know, I wanted to throw out not knowing, because that's kind of the state we're in right now.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe that's what we should write about, because we are all in that state. Is everybody cool with that? We would
Okay,
normally-
yes, and Paul, this
I
is
want to
Dorothy.
move on pretty quickly.
I want to ask one quick functional question. People are writing in the chat, and I wonder if the three of you are
Oh.
getting that, or if you'd rather have them not use chat and just respond to your questions.
No, the chat is actually great.
Okay, just wanted to check.
I just wasn't paying attention to it, and but you can use the chat, and Ryan can keep. When he sees something in the chat that he wants to grab my attention with, he can say something. So the chat's great. But I think we're just going to go with not knowing, Cheryl.
Okay.
Okay, so not knowing. So what are some things you don't know? You can either put them in the chat or you can just unmute yourself. Why don't you just unmute yourself and say, I'm sorry, Jamaica Bob?
How long?
How long? How long will we not know? Okay, somebody else.
When we can hug again.
When can we hug again? What will happen tomorrow? From Sarah. What will tomorrow bring?
Where I came from?
Where I
Lydia?
came from.
Where I put my keys.
We're going to slow down a little for
Yeah,
Cheryl.
because I
Well,
lost.
type-
When can we hug again?
Well, we don't have to get them all up there. This is more of a demonstration than
Where I came from, I think, was one of
where I
them.
came from. Right?
When we'll sing with kids.
Okay, so let's get some things. So these are all kind of fairly conceptual. When will we hug again has a vision, what will come tomorrow. So where I came from, where did we come from? Can you name a place you came from? Who's got a place they came from?
New Jersey,
I came from New Jersey.
parents.
Here in, where are you here in?
I always tell my children they came from love.
Oh, they came from love. And now they're in chaos. Or now they're in something. Now they're in where? You came from love, but now we're in
Mommy's tummy.
mommy's tummy. Okay. Now we're in the air. Now we're in our hearts, our parents' hearts. Okay. So those are some things where, how long will we be here? Okay, how long will we be here? What's something that's a long time? What's a long time for a kid?
2 weeks,
2
a
weeks.
month,
Long time. Will we be
a
here?
season,
Or for what's a really long time?
a whole year.
A whole year. And a really, really long time,
10 years.
10 years, a decade. Okay.
Till the
we're
next
good.
A lifetime.
Oh, or a lifetime, right?
Till the next
Sometimes
birthday.
Oh,
I
someone
get
wrote
my
a data
next
wrote a
deal.
beautiful thing. We'll be here. Will we be here till the stars burn out? Now that's great. That's a great line. We'll be here till the stars burn out. Will we be here till the stars burn out? Till what's something else that would happen when the stars burn out? Anybody got something?
Will we still be together?
Will we still be together? We'll be here till the stars burn out and another planet is born, or another sun is born, until the oceans turn dry. Okay, we have enough to write a verse now. And normally with the kids, we would be working longer on this, and we'd fill up a whole. When we're in the classroom, we'd fill up a whole flip chart with things, or sometimes even 2 or 3 flip charts. Because what we want to do is get our ideas up there before we really start the writing, so that we're not sitting there and scratching our heads in the middle of writing. Because writing is flow, it's energy, and it moves forward, and we want to keep the kids moving forward. We want to keep them engaged. If we have to stop and think too much, the energy flags. And as you all know who work with kids, when the energy flags, you have to bring them back. Yes, Cheryl?
Kids are notorious for one-word, two-word answers. And that's part of the outcome of an educational process of just being a yes or no, right or wrong kind of situation. So using questioning really, for example, the idea of not knowing, they'll give you those one or two word answers, but then just by questioning, really helping them pull it apart, because that's when they make the connections. That's when they really reach in deep down and find other ways to share their feelings and share maybe what their thoughts are. And it can take it in so many different directions, but that's what gives you that full screen, all those ideas to choose from.
And so much of it is in the questions you ask. If you accept yes and no answers, you end up with a song called No. No. So you have to ask the questions, you see where it's leading, and you ask them things to get specific. Because like you all of us start off with conceptual language. You know, I'm not knowing, I don't know where I came from, how long will I be here? Yes, but you know, now let's give it some picture. Let's give it something sensory. We enter songs through our senses, not through our minds. Our songs are supposed to make us feel emotions. I forget the quote, but it's something like, a word makes you think of thought. It's from Yip Harburg. Music makes you feel a feeling, and a song makes you feel a thought. Something along those lines. That's not an exact quote, I'm sorry. But he wrote Somewhere Over the Rainbow, among many others. So what you're after is the things that make people feel. And the things that make people feel are the things that come to us through the senses, not through our minds. So a first line is very important, because the first line is the hook. It grabs people in. It's like the hook, and you draw them in. Come listen to my song. I have something to tell you. So that song I just sang for you, I used to know the names of all the stars. Now I just know a few planets like Jupiter, Earth, and Mars. Well, that's a hell of a lot more interesting than it's Wednesday and it's sunny outside. Or something that's a cliche, I love you, or whatever. It's something that makes people, well, how come you used to know the names of all the stars? And why do you only remember the planets? So all of those things kind of come together to draw the listener in. So we need a great first line. So how about you all come up with the first line for us here? And you can put it in the chat, or you can speak it out here, and Cheryl will write them up there in the Word document.
You'll read them off to me.
I'll read them to you.
Hey, Paul, we have some general questions coming into the chat. Do you want to address those as they come in, or should people save those?
I think that we should address questions later, because right now we're writing the song. So if you can hold your questions, otherwise we're going to end up with not having the flow of writing the song, and the flow is really important to writing the song. So let's stick with the song for right now. Okay, who's got a line for you? Words make you think thoughts, music makes you feel a feeling, but song makes you feel a thought. Okay, thank you, Barb, for the exact quote.
Oh, that was the part.
Yeah.
Paul?
Yes.
So I don't necessarily see a line coming to me, but I hear something. I hear like a tune.
Okay, maybe the tune will work later, but I'm just giving you one way of working. This is certainly not the only way of working.
Sure.
You want to start with lyric. It works better with the kids to start with lyric because they know English. They may not know music yet.
How about not knowing when we can hug again?
I don't know. Okay, that's one idea. I don't know when we can hug again.
Part of Yip's quote.
Travel to tomorrow.
What is it?
I want to travel to tomorrow.
I love that. I don't know when I can touch your face again, that
Yes,
gallon.
it's beautiful. Thank you, Galen. That's a great one. I don't know when I can touch your face again. Okay, and one more idea and then we'll vote on it. Yes, and you all are third graders. I'm gonna hug you.
Julie had a good idea that she put in the chat. Did you see that?
I'm sorry?
Julie had an idea she put in the chat. Where was that?
What was it, Julie?
Hey, this is Julie. Just a reminder, I use they, them pronouns, and my idea was, I thought I came from New Jersey, but now I know.
Okay. I thought I came from New Jersey, but now I know. Okay, we've got 4 of them up here. Let's vote on it. So you can all see them. I'm going to just read out number 1, and then I'll say raise your hand in front of your face. Ryan, if you can kind of do the counting for me, that would be great. Okay, number 1, I don't know when we can hug again. Raise your hand if you want that one in front of your face. Okay, number 2, I want to travel to tomorrow. Ryan, let me know when you've got a count.
Oh, there's so many people. I'm just eyeballing it. Do you want me to count? There's 52 people here.
Yeah. I don't know when I can touch your face again. Okay, and I thought I came from New Jersey, but now I know. Okay,
it was the second one.
I want to travel to tomorrow. Okay, great. I want to travel to tomorrow. Okay, what's next? I want to travel to tomorrow. Let's all say that line together. I want to travel to tomorrow. Okay, and what? And
When we can hug again.
I want to travel to tomorrow. When we can hug, when we can hug again, or when we can hug each other again.
And hope it will be there.
Oh, I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will be there. That's a great second line. That cool with everybody? I kind of like where that's leading, and it leads into some of the other stuff we have. And
what about going back to the first line though and saying, I want to travel to that tomorrow?
Okay.
Because it's not going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's an editing thing.
Okay.
We're going to keep going, and then we'll go back.
Okay.
We can edit the pronouns and the articles. What we're after is the images. And I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will still be there. I want to da 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 da.
You want the hug line to come next?
Well, not necessarily. We'll see who has an idea here. I'll try and hope it will still be there.
I want my old life back.
And hope it will still be there. I want my old life back. And da 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 da. I think something rhymes with back. I want my old life back. And
there was leave behind my sorrow, or leave my sorrow behind was one.
Let's see. I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will still be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow and da 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 da. And
I want to travel to tomorrow and erase away my sorrows.
I want to travel to tomorrow. Well, I'm going to lead us a little bit away from couplets.
Want to make it all be different.
Okay, let's read what we have so far. I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it'll still be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow. And
Paul, actually what I said was, and hope it will be there, not with the still, but hope it will be there.
Still.
I think it makes a difference, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of anyway, let's keep moving and not worry about the small words, because it will become clear when we start setting music to it what we actually need to do. Because the music will also give us an indication of where we need small words and things. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back. My old life back.
I want to open my arms wide and feel you close to me.
I'll open my arms wide and feel you by my side. Okay, let's all read it together, and then that should give us an indication. We probably need one more line, but maybe not. I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will be here. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back. I'll open my arms wide. I'll feel you by my side.
You want
But
I'll or and?
it doesn't
I
matter.
want to make it all be different.
I want to see your smile.
I'll open my arms wide. I'll feel you by my side. There was something that I really loved that, I would love to get in this, feel you by my side.
And get us back on track.
How about we'll see each other smile? Like actually see it without the masks.
So that was my thought. Yeah.
I don't know.
I like to smile better than feel you by my side. I'll open my arms wide. I'll see you. I'll see you. Well, I'll feel you.
This we can survive.
Or feel the warmth of your smile.
Oh, feel the warmth of your smile. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
Feel the warmth of your smile. We'll still be here together. Okay, let's read that, and we're going to need one more line probably to balance it out. I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back. I'll open my arms wide. I'll feel the warmth of your smile. We'll still be here together. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Someone put in for a while.
I thought.
That might be a good.
A while, or we could rhyme
while.
back.
Not a mask to hide.
How about our love will always share?
Yeah, I think we need a rhyme here. And I want to stay, we're a little bit conceptual in our language. I mean, we've got some things like sorrow, travel to tomorrow.
Curly Ray said, where joy will fill the air.
Where joy will fill the air.
That was in the chat.
Yeah, but I think we need a rhyme here to close it out. This is this is a power position, which is the last or the first line. So
What word are you rhyming?
we could either rhyme
Back.
back or together.
I was suggesting something about getting back on track, to rhyme with back.
We'll still be
Getting on track.
back on track. Okay, let's get a few ideas for that. Not knowing.
Feel light as a feather.
What?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The light is a feather, she said.
Feel light as a feather. As a rhyme with feather.
I wondered if you wanted to say, I want to travel to tomorrow and hope you will be there.
Okay. Again, we need to finish this up before we edit. And I'll keep going back to that because really in the classroom, if you don't keep moving forward, you get caught up. And that's one of the things that happens with writing with adults. They argue over the articles, and then we don't.
Well,
but,
you is a whole different concept.
Yeah.
You is a whole different concept.
It is. And hope you will still be there.
These were just some things that were.
No, still. I hope you will be there.
Okay, go ahead. And hope you will be there. Well, except we're traveling tomorrow, and we hope it will still be there. Okay, I'm going to get us getting. I'll feel the warmth of your smile. We'll still be here together. I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back. I'll open my arms wide. I'll feel the warmth of your smile. Will we still be there together? Getting back on track. Getting back.
Do you want this to be a question? Will we still be here together?
Or and get us back on track?
Get us back on track. And I'm just going to look, and I'm going to share my screen for a minute with you here for those of you who don't know about this incredible program called Master Writer. I'm going to put in the word back, and I'm going to share my screen with you.
There's also the word pack, as in packing, since we're traveling to tomorrow. I haven't quite get the line yet, but
Share my Master Writer screen with you here. And then I'm going to type in the word back and hit go. Okay, and now we don't have to go with just a few things we can remember. Or certainly, we don't have to go with you know, backpack, dack, fact kind of thing. And one cool thing that it has in MasterWriter, we can go for phrases.
Let's listen to Fleetwood Mac.
And listen to Fleetwood Mac. I feel, is there anything you see here that maybe not? Let's go to close rhymes.
Not feel so out of whack.
Oh, and not feel so out of whack.
Yeah.
Let's just go with that. This isn't about writing the greatest song we ever
Great. None of that too.
And then hit the road, Jack.
Yeah. Feels out of whack. Oh, that's great.
Hit the road.
So out of whack, comma, Jack.
How about hit the road, Kovac?
Okay. Anyway, I think we've got enough of it. Mostly, I want to give you the experience of going all the way through, and so that's why I'm moving us along. So who
Can I have your word on that?
Pardon me, Lydia. Okay. So who will?
Also, can we share Cheryl's screen again, please?
Oh, yeah. So go ahead and share yours again.
Oh, I'm sorry. So let me go back up here. I think one of the. Why is it not letting me share?
You have to share
Oh,
down
sorry.
there.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, so we've got this section written. Who will read the first line for me?
I see no lines.
We don't see it.
You don't see Cheryl?
Yeah.
Screen needs to be shared.
Your screen isn't shared, Cheryl.
Sorry. You see now?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Is there anyone that can't see it?
I think we all have it.
Okay, someone read it for me, please.
I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will be there.
Okay.
I want to leave behind my.
Just that much. I want to travel. I want to travel to tomorrow. Let's just flip that. I want to travel to tomorrow. Great. So we have the rhythm of the way in which we spoke it. Okay, who else will read it to me? Somebody else, just jump in.
Want to travel to tomorrow.
I want to travel to tomorrow.
So
Take
what
your hand.
what we do is we ask kids to put their hands just like this. So will you all put your hands just like this? Each of us have different levels of inflection, and it's the inflection that will help us determine pitch. So what I'd like for you to do is everyone say that first line together, and when your voice goes up, will you make your hands go up? And when your voice goes down, will you make your hands go down?
Cheryl, could you move a little bit more centered so we can see you as you're talking?
Is this better?
Move
A smudge in closer to Paul.
Oh,
that's right.
She's on her own camera.
I'm on my own camera, but that's okay. I'll smudge in over here.
There you go.
All right. We don't have on our masks there.
Yes.
Okay. So I asked kids to put their hands like this. This is sort of the level playing field. So everyone put their hands like this in front of them. And then I asked them, I say, I want everyone to sort of close their eyes, or no, I guess you can't unless it's memorized. But I want you to say that first line and move your hands up when your voice goes up and move your hands down when it goes down. Ours may not all look alike, but that's okay. We want to figure out that pitch, that inflection. So let's all try it together. You ready? Here we go. I want
to travel to tomorrow.
Hope.
Yeah, try one more time. Just the first line. Just first line. Here we go. I want to travel to tomorrow. So my tomorrow went tomorrow. Maybe yours moved a little bit differently. But we want to help children understand that when they speak in pitch, and pitch is the foundation for helping them understand melody. Where the melody
To tomorrow.
All right, I got to
Okay.
scoot away from him now.
Yep, because I have to play the guitar a little bit. Who would like to sing it? You're informed by the natural pitch and rhythm of.
I'll sing it.
So someone unmute yourself and sing it for us.
I'll sing it.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to travel to tomorrow.
Okay.
I want to travel to tomorrow. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to travel to tomorrow.
Okay.
I want to travel to tomorrow. Now, Paul's got to find us on the.
Oh, my favorite key, flat. Let's
transpose it if you want.
Half step. So the first thing you do is you find the key it's in. And so we took that melody and I want to travel to tomorrow. Do. We've already moved it up to E. Okay. So, well, yes, sure.
Well, it was I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm not hearing it in your new key is the problem.
Well,
Who sang it for us?
I want to travel to tomorrow.
Okay, there you go. I want to travel to. Sing it one more time. You got it better than
I want to travel to tomorrow. I want to travel to tomorrow.
Okay. Well, let me find a couple styles first. I want to travel to tomorrow. So that's one way. Go ahead and sing, Cheryl.
Well, actually, let her sing with you because she's got it.
No, we're not in time.
Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. We're not in time.
We're on Zoom. We're on Zoom.
I want to travel to tomorrow. To tomorrow. I want to travel to tomorrow. I want to travel to tomorrow. I want to travel to tomorrow. There it is. Sorry, we got to put our phone out of the area.
Okay. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another might be, let's see. Kind of a second way of doing it, a little jazzier. Let's see.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I want to travel to tomorrow.
Okay, a little more bluesy. So we have the first one, which is kind of minory and ballady. Second one, which is kind of major and jazzy. Third one, which is bluesy. So now what we do is with the kids is we vote on it. So again, who wants I want to travel to tomorrow?
Who wants the ballad?
Raise your hand. Okay, who wants the jazzier?
The jazzy one?
Okay, and the bluesy.
And the bluesy. It's a runoff between the jazzy and the blues.
Ryan, did you see?
I think it was the jazzy one.
Was the jazzy one?
I want to travel to tomorrow. Okay, and who's going to sing the next line? Let's all sing the first line, and who's going to volunteer to sing the second line when we get to it?
I want to travel to tomorrow.
So who's going to sing the second line? I can only have one person.
I know Charlotte had an idea about.
And hope it will be there.
So we're going to sing the first line, and Charlotte, you come in on the second one.
I want to travel to tomorrow.
Sorry, I was unmuted. Sorry, I didn't unmute.
2, 3.
I want to travel to tomorrow.
And hope it will be there.
And hope it will be there.
I I wanna leave behind my sorrow.
Just one line at a time.
I don't know.
So what you're going to naturally feel as adults and leaders is you're naturally going to start to feel where you want this song to go. You know, it's instinctual because you all are great musicians, but for kids, they don't know that, and so it's really helpful to take it line by line to help them build that skill.
Okay, let's try. I think I have the chords for it now. 2, 3.
I want to travel to tomorrow and hope it will be. Okay, Charlotte, sing that for me one more time. I lost it.
How about "and hoping it will still be there"? Then it can have the same rhythm. Like, and hoping it will still be there.
I agree with that.
Will still be there.
And hoping it will still be there. Maybe. Yeah.
I want to travel to tomorrow.
And hoping it will still be there.
I'm hoping it'll still be there. Okay, great.
I'm hoping. It's I'm hoping. I'm hoping it will still be there.
Oh, sorry.
Is it I?
You could.
I want to travel to tomorrow.
How about just start with hoping, and if you're going to put the word still in.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Who's speaking?
Jamaica Bob, if you're going to put the word still in, how about taking I'm out? It might be inferred as the subject, and then hoping it will still be there. I want to travel to tomorrow, hoping it will. So skip the I'm, maybe as an option.
Yeah. So
travel to tomorrow.
Okay, Charlotte, sing it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what I was going to say, I'll sing it. But what I was going to say is, when you have the I'm in, it's parallel rhythm. So that's why the I'm was in it. Right? You know what I mean? I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it will still be there. So how would you do hoping it will?
Well,
I'll just say hoping.
Either one will work, and I'm kind of in agreement with Charlotte, and I want to keep us moving, so I'm going to.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. I'll do it just the way it is.
Get a decision here. Sure. I want to travel to tomorrow.
I'm hoping it will still be there. I'm hoping it will be there.
I'm hoping it will still be there. I'm hoping it will still be there. It's a little bit jazzier of a rhythm, and I like that.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it will still be there.
Nice. Who's got the next line for me? Thank you, Charlotte. That was really beautiful.
I want to leave behind my sorrow.
Okay, so when we get to it, Nanny Nikki, you sing it when we get to it. Always we go back and sing up to it so that it has context.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it will still be there.
I want to leave behind my sorrow. Oh, no, that's not what I did. I want to leave behind my sorrow.
That's nice.
I want to leave behind my sorrow. Okay? Sorry, what was that?
And get my old life back somewhere. And get my old life back somewhere.
Let's sing up to that. Where melody's getting, we're repeating ourselves a little bit, so I don't want to go with the same melody going forward from here. But let's see. So I'm just going to write myself a chart here quickly.
I'm going to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it will still be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow.
I think all three lines are starting in the exact same place. And I think I would want to change at least by the third line, starting somewhere different.
I have an idea for the fourth line.
Okay, so let's sing up to it. So, give us your idea when we get to it.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it will still be there. I want to leave
behind my sorrow and get my old life back.
can hold, extend,
Yeah.
and get my old life back.
Okay, so notice what that does. Thank you very much. For my encore, I will do the second part of the verse. We came to a stop sign halfway through a verse. So we could treat it that way, or we can move forward. So when we resolve a 5-1 resolution, when we end on the tonic, everything feels like it has come to a stop sign. We may not, now there's two ways of treating this. One, we could treat it as an A section, the first part, and then the second part being another verse, but with a different form, because we have a different rhyme scheme in the second half of it. My tendency is to treat this as one section, in which case we don't want to come to a stop at the end halfway through. So let's not end on the tonic.
So maybe a suggestion might be, let's try and end on a 5 or 5-7. Right. I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it will still be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back.
Now you see, now it's, oh, let's keep moving forward. You got a green light.
That's just one option.
I like that option.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
And get my old life back. And then maybe even you can sustain life back.
Or we could do that. Okay, so here's the two choices, and let's vote on it.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it'll still be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back. So that was the one way.
Get my old life.
Right.
That was one, okay, and then the second.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it'll still be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back. So,
One or two. How many want number one?
I'm seeing a lot of ones.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so we'll take it to
Okay.
the 5.
Okay. Okay, now let's get the second part of this. Ooh, and I realize actually that we are in danger of running out of time fairly soon. So there's two choices here. Well, first of all, I guess someone who's in charge, like David or somebody, can we run over a little bit? And also, how do you all feel about running over a little bit? Because I know you have a lot of questions and I want to answer your questions. And you've experienced enough of this to be able to ask questions, or do you want to finish this chunk off? Because this really, just writing that much gives you a pretty good idea of the process.
I think questions. Lots of people want to go with questions.
Okay. Okay, so what we would do now is we would record this, so we would remember it for tomorrow. And in fact, I think I will do that right now.
So while he's setting up the recording, just based on your own intuition, what do you think kids will do with that next section?
Okay.
I think they'd throw their arms out wide and just sing it naturally. And they'd have wide be a really long note.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go.
I also
agree
think
with that.
they would probably mimic that first 4 and just resolve to 1, and because it might be easier for them to remember. We might. I don't know. I'm not as much a songwriter, so I don't know how simple or complex melodies are. Really geared for kids. So that's my gut there.
Yeah, and sometimes the melodies get incredibly complex. And because kids don't have a sense of harmony in the same way we do, they often go into really oddball places. And so I have to rack my brain to figure out how to modulate, you know, we've had songs that started in C, ended up in C sharp, and I had to get back to C.
And they also change meter.
And change. We have a lot of meter changes, and so it's really kind of very creative because they haven't listened to radio for 50 years.
Paul and Cheryl, do you think you could talk a bit about your process with the kids? This is exciting, seeing your map and this process. I think, do you work, one of you or two of you? How much time do you generally have with a group of kids? What are your priorities in doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And
sure. So what I'd like to do is just record what we just did, and then I'll answer that question because it's a great question. I've got the recorder going, and we're just going to, Cheryl and I will sing it.
Record it for prosperity.
Okay. Let's see.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it'll still be there.
Total mess up, Paul. You idiot. Okay, one more time.
I want to travel to tomorrow. I'm hoping it'll still be there. I want to leave behind my sorrow and get my old life back. I want to travel to tomorrow. We can sing it over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay, so questions, process. When we're working with kids and doing a songwriting session, let me unshare and so you can see me. We normally work with children for 2 1-hour sessions. The very first session creates the foundation because it gets us, builds a relationship with the kids, and that has to be established pretty quickly. And often the best way to do that is there are no wrong ideas, everything's great. We try to document everything that all the kids say so that their thoughts and their ideas are honored. As I'm sure you all felt in a group of 50, if all of a sudden someone isn't able to give their idea, sometimes it makes them shut down a little bit. And so we really do want to encourage them to do that because that's going to help the process as they begin to write and create in process. First session and second session.
Okay. And what was the rest of your question there, Ruth?
I'm sorry, Paul. I'm going to have to interject. I saw that Jenny said that there's another meeting at 5. Jenny, can you respond and say whether we've can take an exercise?
There's the New York
Dorothy,
regional meeting.
Yeah, but it's on a different Zoom account. I just looked
Good.
it up. You're okay. You can go over. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I just need a response.
Okay, thank you all.
I wasn't sure myself, but I'm
Okay.
Great, thanks, David. I'm sorry, Ruth. Was there a little
Yeah.
more?
Is it generally one of you or two of you
Two
that
of
are
us.
working with a group at a time? And is it often that you have the 2 1-hour sessions, or just sometimes you have one 45-minute with 6 classes? What's the variety of arrangements that you have when you're working with kids? And is it mostly schools or libraries or?
It's mostly schools. We do libraries. We do all kinds of things, which I'll talk about in a bit. It's always 2 of us because if I try to do it myself and I turn around and write on the board, I've lost the kids. Someone has to keep the thread going with them and be looking right. And I get right when we're working in the classroom. I get right in their face. I'm walking around with my guitar and, what do you think? And I'm up like that on them. And the person who's writing on the board is putting a heavy circle around important things that are said so that when I turn around in a split second, I can grab those things. And also, I'm not much of a singer, as you probably noticed in the beginning, and so I always love to have great singers who work with me, and that really helps a lot. Now we're working a lot online, and in fact, it's going really well. There are different challenges that happen when you're working online, of course. You don't have the ability to really see the expression. Some of the nonverbal things don't come through. But it also, we've really worked on this process and the technology so that the technology needs to be totally transparent and disappear. And so we're finding that it's working really well, and we're getting a huge amount of interest from schools because they need something that's not just to sit and get, something that's creative for the kids, something that the kids are really excited about doing. Let's see, and then you,
Other questions?
well, pardon?
I think if there were other questions.
Yeah. And what she was asking, the amount of time we have. We try and get an hour, 2 1-hour sessions on consecutive days from the kids. Sometimes it's as short as 45 minutes, and I can do it in that amount of time. It's just we have to plow through faster with things if we only have 2 45-minute sessions. So I try and discourage the sessions being shorter than an hour. When we're working with younger kids like preschool especially, but also K and first grade, we often do 3 40-minute sessions so that, the attention span being less. Some other questions? Okay, no more questions. Well, great. So I have a...
Paul, I have a question. I observed someone trying to do songwriting with kids at the library. Only 2 children showed up. It was a very minimal response. What's an ideal number that you like to work with?
I like to work with at least a dozen and no more than 25. And generally we work with whatever the class size is at the school. Below a dozen, sometimes it's hard to get enough energy moving forward, although I would say during the summer when we were doing some library things virtually, we had some small attendance like that, and fortunately we didn't have, we had some kids who had a lot of energy and it worked. But you want to have enough that there's a group energy, so if there's someone who's, kind of like this, there's someone else who's got some energy and you can move it forward.
Sometimes when you've had like a really small group of younger kids, I invite them to bring their stuffed animals in, and they take on personalities of their own, and sometimes that really helps with opening up the kids and helping them generate ideas. Okay. And oftentimes also with younger kids, we find that the parents or other siblings might be in the room. It's like, okay, if it's a small group, let's just bring everybody in together and make it a really positive experience.
Cheryl, is it generally you and Paul that go in as a pair, or Paul, you go in?
We have a number of Kid Pan Alley teachers. We have actually 3 other people who lead. We have Leah Morris, who is just fantastic. Robbie Schaefer, who many of you know because he used to be the host of Kids Place Live, and Eddie from Ohio. And one who we haven't done much with in a while, but who's really great up in Connecticut, Donnie Sosin, who's a friend of Galen's. And he's just like this most amazing musician, and I love working with Donnie. And then we have a number of people who can assist. And so sometimes we have 2 teams at once. I do the bulk of things right now, especially the online things, because Cheryl and I can be in the same room, and it's really hard when, if I was working with someone in California, because one person can't sing while the other one plays. So it works particularly well because Cheryl and I are a couple.
How do you, what kind of end product and follow-up do you have for the children at the end of the sessions?
So what we do is at the end of the residency, we do a concert. And so we write 8 songs. So we work with 4 classes a day when we're in person. We write 8 songs. And then on Friday, we rehearse with the children in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we do a concert for the whole school. And in the evening, we do a concert for the community. The community concerts are very well attended, typically 300 to 600 people, because we've written songs with close to 200 kids during the week. So They're really nice community events. Other questions?
Sorry, I missed the beginning. So if pardon me if you went through this at the beginning, but do you launch right in with the songwriting, or do you have a warm up like a sing along or movement?
We do one song called "Best Friends," generally as a starter to get their voices warmed up and to sing along. And Cheryl also gives them hand motions
I get them
and things
moving.
to do, so that we get them moving.
That's the song we do at the end of every Kid Pen Alley concert. So it's a great prep, and it's just a great way to get kids engaged and smiling and having fun.
Paul,
yes.
You gave us a choice of 3 musical styles. Is that what you typically do? Do you?
Yeah. You don't want to give them too many, so that it becomes difficult. But I try and give them 3 different ones, and it depends on the melody I've been given as to what happens. One of the challenges, if you are fairly limited on your musical skills, you'll do what they said of Vivaldi. He didn't write 300 concertos, he wrote one concerto 300 times. And, I don't want to write 27, I don't want to have written one song 2,700 times, so having a really broad range of musical ability is really helpful.
Usual rule of thumb, though, is
Oh, when you
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes.
when you do the online residency, do you end that with a concert, and how does that work?
Yes. Well, during the summer, we were mostly working with children who signed up individually, and so it was kind of a one-off. Now we're working with schools, and so basically every 8 songs we do a concert. 8 is a good number because at my age, remembering more than 8 is challenging. And we'll do an online concert. They can be singing along with their microphones muted, or we're doing one in Colorado with in a school in Colorado where we're sending them a recording of us playing it, and they're singing along with that. And we have done some videos. In fact, I may just play a little of. Let's see.
Bridge to Peace?
Yeah, Bridge to Peace. Let me pull that up here to show you what you can do with them. This is a lot of work, but it's kind of interesting. And one of the things, Ryan, do you have it there where you can share?
No, I don't have it on hand.
There you go.
Probably on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I have it downloaded. Yeah, oops.
I apologize. I have to slip out, but just push the end of recording when you're finished. And it's been great, wonderful to meet you, and hope to see you around.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm gonna share this with you. Let's see. I'll just play a little bit of it.
The beginning of the road is dark and frightening. Going on a journey to reach enlightenment. This is for everyone who's ever been silenced. Peace is more than the absence of violence. Foundation made of empathy, road paved with trust, supports of understanding. It takes all of us to build this bridge to peace. We're starting.
Anyway, you get the idea there. So you can do things like that. That is a huge amount of work, which Ryan did. Ryan, who's been helping moderate, works for us. He's a great recording engineer, a great musician, producer. Any other questions? Okay, I might just say a few things before we end here. First off, I want to encourage you all. I know it's a little overwhelming. I've been writing songs my whole life and been touring and performing and composing, and my background is I have a degree in composition and theory. I've written orchestra music, and I've written 2 musicals and lots of music for plays. And so don't let, what I've done kind of keep you from doing it. You can do some stuff with them, but remember, even though you can write songs, writing songs with a group of screaming kids at the same time is a whole different thing. And so your songwriting needs to be so ingrained to you. It's like I can write a song as easily as I can speak. And that's what you're going for, so that you're speaking the musical language. Because if you have to stop and think too much, it just stops. But there are easier ways of doing it than what we do. What we do teaches the creative process from blank page to performance. And that's a pretty big territory to fill. So, like, for example, you could, you could start with music and, use something that you already know how to do. One thing I want to warn you against, and I've seen way too many people doing it, is filling in the syllables. Because English is an accentual language. It's not a syllabic language. It's not Navajo. It's not Chinese. It's an accentual language. So it's the number of accents in the line, not the number of syllables. And so it's like paint by numbers, except you got the numbers mixed up if you do that, because it's really not how English works. But there are things you can do with that. But most of all, what I'd suggest you do is what I did at one point in my life. My friend Sai Khan, I'd stopped writing for a while, and he said, well, why aren't you writing? And I went, well, Lorraine's the writer in Trapezoid. I don't have anything to say. I'm too busy managing the band, etc., etc. And he said, I tell you what, get up every morning for the next week and write a song and finish it. And put it in a folder and don't look at it for 6 months. And I did that, and the week went on for a month and 2 months and 3 months and 6 months. And in 6 months, I didn't even want to look at them because I was enjoying writing so much. It went on for 2.5 or 3 years. And I didn't write every day, but I had several hundred songs at the end of it. And that's where I learned how to write. And that's how, if you want to do it on the level we're doing it, that's the kind of experience you need. Music needs to be a second language for you. That said, all of these techniques can be used in so many different ways in whatever creative work you're doing. This is just one way. People ask, what's our process and what's our secret? And the process and secret is listening. We really listen to the kids. Yes, we have a framework. This is sort of the framework that I showed you. But the process is really listening on a deep level. We do work with autistic children who don't have language. And we try and write a very authentic song with them by using pictures. We partner them with normally developing peers and work with the normally developing peers on how to determine what someone's trying to say. How they're squeezing your hand, how they're looking at you, how they're nodding their head. And it's all about listening on a very deep level, because it's not only the words that matter. So practicing your listening is good for everything you're doing. But finally, you really just need to study songwriting, because so many different things come up. And if you go in with, okay, the first and the second line have to rhyme, and the third and the fourth line have to rhyme, and it needs to stay in 4, you're going to be trying to shoehorn wonderful ideas into a box that don't fit them. And so half of our songs change meter. It's because the kids aren't thinking about that. They're just saying what comes out. And it makes the song more interesting. there are wonderful workshops around the country. I've been teaching for close to 30 years at Rocky Mountain Song School in Colorado, but I've taught at 50 different ones. And you can learn from people who've been doing this journey for a long, long period of time and really get your songwriting chops up. Finally, I just want to offer, if people are interested, we just scratched the surface today. I could talk about this for a month with you, and I could help you get it. That's part of just, not that I'm brilliant at this, but I've done 2,700 songs like this, and even someone as slow as I have learned some things along the way. If people are interested, drop me an email and say you're interested, and maybe what I'll do is do a weekend songwriting virtual retreat about writing songs with kids, because there's so much more to learn, to know, and to get experience in doing. And if we get enough people, there will be a charge for it, but I'll make it reasonable. I'd be happy to do a weekend workshop for you. So Ryan, can you put my email in the chat there? And any other questions?
Can I say something?
Sure, go ahead, Cheryl.
I hope that you will take the opportunity, if you haven't already, to work with children. Every child has a song inside of them. And, sometimes the most brilliant things come out of the cacophony of sound. You can go into a classroom, and maybe some of you have been in classrooms where it seems incredibly chaotic. But it's the child who's silent in the corner that has some of the most brilliant ideas. Or when the two children are talking and you think maybe they're not listening to you, but actually the one child's very shy and she's giving her idea to her friend who's going to share it with you. Give peace a chance, give kids a chance. They have an amazing voice, and you as musicians have that opportunity to bring it out in them. So I encourage you to do so.
Yeah, I always say that kids make the greatest co-writers because they don't need a coffee break, and they don't worry if Garth is going to cut their song, and they don't argue about percentages or anything. But also because they're closest to source. They have what you need, which is imagination. Now, if you put a group of kids in a room and said, write a song, nothing would come out. Our job is to guide them. Yeah. And I say I do as little as possible and as much as is necessary to make a good song. Because they know if they've written a stupid little song, they know they haven't really done anything. But so we're writing songs that get recorded by these artists, and we make them sound like $1 million, because we want to honor the work of the kids at the highest professional level. I don't believe that that's just good enough for children, because when you really honor them, then it really changes the way in which they look at their own creative abilities. Imagine you're in second grade and Amy Grant records the first song you ever recorded. I think that changes you for life. And so let's honor their work and not just make it something that they hang on the refrigerator, but make it something that they're proud of for the rest of their lives.
They'll remember it for the rest of their lives.
Yes. Yes, Sarah.
Paul, one thing I would love to just say that has always stuck with me since I first met you and heard about this process was that you talked about the kids, you particularly love the second, third grade age because there's less self-consciousness, there's more imagery that the kids use. And I think that that's one of the things that adults can sometimes lose so easily is that detail and the way that just takes you inside a story. And I love that you're kind of there waiting for those gems of that kind of detail and personal stuff to show up, and then you can help guide it.
Yeah, beautifully put, Sarah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or comments there?
Paul, do you all have YouTube videos of actually you being in process doing?
We do have some. I think some of them are also on whatever one of these other services is. And I've been meaning to kind of take one and edit it down but I do have some, Ruth, and if you don't find it on our YouTube channel, there's a whole lot of stuff on our YouTube channel. But if you don't, find it on there, write me directly, and I'll look up one for you so you can kind of see the whole 2-hour process.
Well, that'd be so interesting. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful workshop.
Thank you all.
Oh, you're so welcome. I think what I'll do is I want to thank you all, and then I'll play as you're leaving. Maybe I'll put on a Kid Pan Alley song here, just so you can kind of hear the level at which we try and do the recordings at to honor the children. Let's see. What? No Limit on Hope, okay. Can you all hear that?
This is high school.
We wrote this with kids with cancer out in California. Yeah, well, no, and they were high school kids, and they performed it at a concert.
A bird sang a song in my window this morning, welcoming a brand new day. I thought I heard it say, help is coming your way. All my nightmares from the past with the sun's rays turn to ash. No limit on hope, you gotta try, you gotta believe. As you give, you shall receive. No limit on hope, you just can't think it, you gotta live it. You get whatever you give it.
And I'll play one more so you can kind of hear a bit of the range. Let's see. This is the complete opposite. So we did a project with the Nashville Chamber Orchestra, and this song got a Grammy nomination.
Perfect timing.
And someone mentioned Halloween, that's what I thought about it.
Scary things, they're not real, even though that's how they feel. My imagination makes up very hairy, scary things. Scary things, they're not real, even though that's how they feel. My imagination makes up very, very scary things. I was watching my TV.
Okay. So it goes the whole gamut from in every imaginable style. We have 5 Kid Pan Alley
Where do we
albums.
find these songs?
They're all on Spotify.
I can put a few links in the chat.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I can put a few links in the chat. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Kid Pan Alley.
Our last album that is current, our album that's current, was an album we did all with well-known children's artists. So it's our most childlike album of the group. But we had like Bill Harley and Randy Kaplan, the Not Its, John McCutcheon, Lisa Loeb, and a whole bunch of really wonderful children's artists singing the songs. And that album is called Best Friends. Okay, well, anyway, Ryan, if you want to save the chat, if you click on the three buttons on the lower right, you can save the chat. And I just want to thank you all for being brave and writing a song.
May I ask a question before
Sure.
we go? Last question. What you said about I do as little as possible and as much as necessary, I want the exact quote because that was perfect.
I think that was exactly what I said.
Oh, I shouldn't have said it.
I do as little as possible and as much as is necessary. Because, you know, it's really easy, and I've seen it a lot. When we did our Nashville album, I thought it was ridiculous for me to be able to be writing in Nashville. So we had a lot of really Grammy-winning songwriters there. You know, people like Beth Nielsen Chapman and just an amazing group of songwriters, Angela Cassett, Gary Nicholson. I mean, there must have been 8 or 9 Grammy-winning songwriters on the project, and some of them could write with kids, and some couldn't. And some of them went in there with the song already written in their head, and then just kind of tried to ask the questions to get the kids to say the things that they'd already written. And that's when I really realized that the important thing about this is what's coming from the kids, and to honor their work, and for me to go in there with the same blank sheet of paper as we start with. My mind needs to be a blank sheet of paper. I don't want to go in there with the song already written, with a melody in my head, with anything. It's got to come from the kids and be authentic for them. It's not about what I want, it's what they want. And then my job is to help them get there. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you, Paul. It was wonderful. Thank you, Cheryl.
Bye. Thank you.
Really